Hi, I'm Marsh from StrataGames, and today we're playing some Dimir Faeries. This is a Barf challenge win list from a couple weeks ago. At least it's almost that. I decided I wanted to play a one of Bonder's Ornament. I saw him trying out Bonder's Ornament, and it's the week or two after Bonder's Ornament's been released from prison, and still trying it out in various decks. So I figured we'd give it a try here. So I swapped that one card, but otherwise 74 cards from his challenge win a couple weeks ago. Pretty similar to the same Dimir Control Fairies list that's been around for a little while, but we got a couple minor differences. We are playing for our Counterspell suite here 2 Dispel, 4 Counterspell, 4 Spell Stutter Sprites. For our early and cantrips and stuff like that, we have Brainstorms, 3 Fairy Seers, Augur Bolas, and we're playing 1 Sewer Valence Cam, which he's seemed to really like in the deck, and has just seemed really powerful in the format in general, so I don't mind it here. For removal, we have Suffocating Fumes, Force Snuff Out, and Agony Warp, Extract Confession, 2 Cast Down. And then for our late game and card draw and stuff like that, we have Ninja, the Deep Hours, 2 of those, and 1 Moon Circuit Hacker, Mukatai Ambusher, 2 Thorn of the Black Rose, and that ornament that we're trying out. We also, of course, have 4 Lorien revealed that are a little bit hidden down here in our mana base. 1 of Swamp, bunch of islands, for Boating Landscape, an Aqueduct, 4 Contaminated Aquifer, and a Bajuka Bog. For our sideboard, a Null, Blue Elemental Blast, Hydro, another Ambusher, Arms of Hadar, Extract a Confession, Relic of Progenitus, and a Campfire. So let's take this for a league and see how we do.
Thanks to Card Market for sponsoring this video. I've written a comprehensive guide on how to play White Weenie in Pauper, including my ideal stock list, over 30 sideboard matchups, and a sideboard cheat sheet, which gives you a very easy snapshot view and what to sideboard for every single matchup. I also have guides for Black Sack and Esper Affinity. Each guide is only $15, and if you buy one, you will get all future updates that I ever make to that guide for free. I also offer coaching, so if you're interested in upping your Pauper game for any of the decks that I'm very proficient in, or if you're interested in having me play your deck in a future video, you can do a deck donation, which is the only way you'll ever see me playing Cycle Storm or Flickertron.
All right, we got a pretty decent hand here on the draw. We get our Black Source with the Lorien revealed. Ooh, actually, Fairy Seer is a perfect draw. Cast Down and Brainstorm. Looks like we're going to be against Ruby Storm. So I kind of think, even though Brainstorm sets up Augur, I guess Brainstorm's fine, because if we don't end up using a counter spell, I can go for the Brainstorm. Cast Down's decent. All right, we'll leave them both on top. Definitely would prefer a Snuff Out for just free way to kill a creature here. They start with Amorphos, play a Reckless Impulse, Seething Song, and an Anarchomancer. Well, we can leave up Counterspell for the Anarchomancer next turn. They play a Mountain. Start with the Seething Song. So I could just counter this. I can't use the Sprite, I have to use an actual counterspell, but by countering this, I basically get rid of this Anarchomancer and just shut them off from doing anything else, so I think it's worth it. I would happily use a counterspell on the Anarchomancer, so I just think that making sure they can't do anything else is probably worthwhile here. I do want to get black mana from this Lorien, but then we're not holding up Sprite. We do have the Bonder's Ornament. Unfortunately, we're using this before the Brainstorm. I think I just get an island here, leave up Spell Stutter, swing for 1. We can counter any cost reducer they can play. Burning Curiosity we can't counter, though. But that just finds them a land and a Laughing Mad for next turn. Now we'll Brainstorm. Okay, we do find Snuff Out, although I got rid of the Lorien for not a swamp, so that's not as good. So I can play a Bonder's Ornament. I guess if I play Bonder's Ornament, I can just hold up Dispel for the Laughing Mad. But we're not holding up a counterspell for a creature, but then I can just kill the creature next turn. It's a little awkward. We'll draw the Dispel, but I think we're just going to do this. Seeing as we're not hitting a land drop, I kind of want to develop our mana, especially because this gives us black mana. They could play a cost reducer and then a Laughing Mad and something else. They actually start with a Seething Song, so I think we're going to counter that, because that means that without another ritual, they can't actually play the Laughing Mad this turn. So again, it's card advantage, but it also just shuts off their... might shut off their ability to do anything this turn. All right, that's pretty good. And now we have Spell Stutter and Cast Down. So I think we just pass. I could play an Augur, but then I only have 1 thing up, which might be fine, actually. Now they have a Laughing Mad, discarding a Cavern. I can't do anything about that because I don't have 3 fairies. I wish I had a 4th mana or 5th mana just so I could use this ornament since I'm not doing anything here, because I don't think I want to flash out a Spell Stutter, seeing as it's our only counterspell. I could Ninja, but then our Spell Stutter's even worse. I think we swing, and I guess this time I'll play the Augur. If I'm lucky, I find like a Lorien, which can cycle to hit our land drop. Suffocating Fumes. Alright, well I can cycle that. Put 2 lands on the bottom. Definitely didn't want those. Glimpse the Impossible. Hits Reckless Impulse, Glimpse, Pirate's Pillage. So they're going to pillage, which lets them impulse. I can counter the impulse. I can't counter the Pirate's Pillage. They're actually just going to let those go. Get some spawn. I'm going to cycle the Fumes. I could use it to kill the spawn, but that doesn't seem really to be what I want to do. We get a counter spell. I would very much like to brainstorm for a land, but if I miss, then I'm only holding up 1 counter spell, and I feel like we're getting to the point where I probably want to hold up a couple. So we're going to do nothing and just pass here. They are going to jump. There's a Ren's Resolve. I think we go for the Spell Stutter. They've been pretty careful to not play 2-drops. So maybe this is a bait, but it also feels like I should probably just get my value where I can. And we still have a counter spell. An Archomancer. So I could counter, but I think I probably just want to cast it down. Maybe I counter whatever else they play if I can stop them. If it's a Thornscape Familiar, I'd probably just cast down now. Could let them go and counter the next thing, but that seems risky. I could also just let them go off and maybe be able to cast down the Elemental they'll make at the end of this, but that also is pretty risky if they can make 2. They're going to Morphos in response. Familiar resolves. They have a Ren's Resolve. Hits another Familiar and a Woodlot. I guess with double Familiar, I wish I still had the Suffocating Fumes, because it kills those. Reckless Impulse, they get a land drop, Desperate Ritual. Okay. I can extract a Confession, and I can leave up a counter spell. Swing for 3. They go for a Desperate Ritual. I feel like they have enough mana already that I feel like I'd rather attack card draw. Or the second Familiar, maybe. What do they have in graveyard? 2 Laughing Mads. So they already have a good amount of card draw. I think I'm going to counter the Familiar and hope for the best. If they can't go off this turn or get stopped, then I can snuff out the Familiar. They Glimpse the Impossible. They hit a big score, but 2 lands. That's decent. They do play a Mountain. Big score. Crack all their treasures for a Laughing Mad from the grave. So they're out of mana. Attack for 2. Make a spawn. We get our island, which means I can snuff this out and hold up a Dispel. I think that seems good enough. They clearly didn't have the best cards in hand at the end of last turn because they just went for the Laughing Mad instead of like a big score or anything like that. They tap for 7. First day of class. And then they're just going to seize the storm, and that would probably kill us. And that's a sorcery, so I guess we'll dispel this. I guess they don't have to really combo if they've just filled their graveyard a ton. It's a 21-21. I don't have a kill spell for it at the moment. We'll brainstorm, try to find one. No. Well, I can block with an Augur and something else to not die for this turn. And then I can spell stutter like another first day of class or something. So I think we put back Island Ninja. I just play a Fairy Seer. Scribe those to the bottom. Play an Aquifer. Swing for 2 in the air. Oh, I guess this grows, doesn't it, as they play more things. So I guess if they could just play like a couple cards, we'll probably just die. Not having an Aquifer really screwed some things up because I had to pay full mana for that Snuff Out and some other stuff. They have a Seething Song, which I guess I'll counter. Try to reduce the amount of things they can do. This is 22 now, which means I have just enough. If they can play anything, any spell, then I'll die to the trample. They flashback Laughing Mad, which keeps it the same size. So I'd take 19 here, 18. All right, we'll go to 1. We need to draw a removal spell. Slightly better removal spell than that, unfortunately. In this case, wish it was a cast down. I guess we'll draw from the Bonder's Ornament, but a Snuff Out we can't cast. Of course, now we get that. Well, that's a bit unfortunate. I feel like we had the majority of the game in control, but just some things was a little awkward. We didn't see our Bajuka Bog either, which would have helped. We do get a whole bunch of Blue Blasts and Hydroblasts, and the Relic. Extract and Arms are decent too. Thorn's slow, but I guess maybe okay. We don't need an Ambusher. Agony Warp kills one of their guys. Extract probably isn't good enough. Agony Warp, I don't know. Like Agony Warp and Extract can kill their cost reducers, but like so can all of these. Well, I guess they don't kill the thorns. The thorn escape elementals, or not elementals, familiars. Ornament didn't seem amazing, but it didn't seem terrible either. If we get into that similar situation, we just missed a land drop for a while. If we hadn't, we would have drawn a couple cards off of it and it would have been okay. Augur is not the best because it doesn't need to block, which is kind of one of its main jobs. I guess we probably don't need Thorn. Alright, this is okay. Give it a try. I guess we're just getting black mana with the landscape right away. So I can have a Snuff Out up. 2 Snuff Outs. They have basically no 1-drops, so I probably won't be spell stuttering anything. So I think we just flash that in so I can Ninja, unless they want to Pyroblast it. They're going to Laughing Mad, discarding a Seize the Storm in response. Okay. Swing. We'll get a Ninja going. Draw a card. Counterspell's good. We'll pass. Alright, they think about doing something, but decide against it. We get more counterspells. Nothing wrong with that. Hit for 2. Draw a card. Even more counterspells. They play a Crevice and just pass. I could apply more pressure with the Sprite. Currently it's an 8-turn clock. This would make it a 6-turn clock. I have a lot of other counterspells, but I think we'll leave it for now. It still would be a 6-turn clock if I do it in the next couple turns. And it could be good at countering some other stuff. Okay, I'm going to go for a Brainstorm. We're still holding up 2 counterspells, but I'd really like to hit a land drop here. We do with the Lorien. Relic, million cards here. Million counterspells. Okay, so I think we get rid of Sprites. Maybe 1 Snuff Out. Sprite and a Snuff Out. Cycle a Lorien for an island. Play that, and then play a Relic. So we can get some flashback cards gone. Unless they discard something in response, which should be fine. Pyroblast the Ninja. Yeah, I thought that might be coming. Obviously, I could Spell Stutter it, but then we're fully tapped out. I could Dispel it, and we still have Blue Blast up. I kind of need the Ninja. So I think we're going to Dispel. If they cast another one, I got to just let it go. But I still have Blue Blast, Snuff Out, and Cracking Relic up, so even though I'm down to 1 mana here, not feeling too bad. They play a Narcomancer. I'll let that go. They Manamorphose, so we'll Snuff Out the Narcomancer. They play a First Day of Class, which could find Metal Bending, Origin of Metal Bending to keep this alive. I don't know if that's what they're going for, but seeing as it can do that, I feel like I probably just Blue Blast this. I could kill this in response, but this is already dying. They cast another Manamorphose on top of all that. I guess if they'd gone for the Origin of Metal Bending, I could have just blasted this. Alright, it still worked. I still killed it, but they do get 2 Morphoses off, so they're up to 4 mana here. Another Narcomancer, and a Laughing Mad, discarding a Crevice. Play a land drop. Not the worst ever. I kind of want to Blue Blast the Anarchomancer so I can keep getting him with the Ninja. We want to kill it anyway, and I don't really want to attack it. If they trade, then I don't have any pressure. Not to mention I lose my draw engine. Snuff Out's not bad. I'm not going to play the second Relic for now, just because I want to hold up Sprite and Counterspell. We have a Snuff Out, so I think we'll let the Anarchomancer resolve. I'll Snuff Out it now. They're going for a Reckless Impulse. See if they have anything else in response. No, so I think countering a draw 2 is probably worthwhile. They have a Gruul Turf, bouncing their Woodlot probably. No, just a basic. Another Counterspell is great. We'll swing for 2. Draw a card. Play an island. Play another Relic. This does mean I don't have all 3 of my counterspells up, but I think with them having 2 cards in hand, the chances of needing that are low. And I like attacking their graveyard twice as fast here. Play a mountain. Tap for a bunch. They have a Seize the Storm. I guess I'd missed that in their graveyard. I mean, it's going to make a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7. Yeah, I'll counter that. Obviously, I know I can shrink it with the Relic, but it would still be like a 3/3, which would be big enough to block with the Ninja. I probably should just crack a Relic here because they have 2 Laughing Mads, and there's just no reason to let them have all that extra power. I'll leave the spell stutter for now. Hit for 2. Draw a Lorien. We'll cycle that. Play an island. Play a Bonder's Ornament. Got double counterspell up, and the ornament actually, I mean, we're pretty close to winning anyway, I think, but the ornament could be pretty decent here. We'll just counterspell a Thornscape. They have a Reckless Impulse. That I can't do anything about. They hit Glimpse and I think Pyroblast off of that. Perfect. I thought we were going to cast a Spell Stutter for no value here, but we have it, and we get the game. Yeah, let's just try that again. All right, we have Seer. Double Relic is good. Snuff out Blue Blast. It's not the best thing ever, but I think we'll keep getting that 1 of Ornament. I think we start with a Fairy Seer. We got to hit more land drops, even though holding up Blue Blast would be nice here. Bajuka Bog is, well, it's decent, but honestly, with Double Relic, I'm not sure I need it. Otherwise, I would definitely keep it. I think we'll just keep the island, though. I don't even hate the 4th land because of the ornament, but we do want to find some other stuff. Tap 2 for a Reckless Impulse. They hit a Pyroblast and a Ren's Resolve. Play a Gruul Turf, bouncing the Needle. So we can attack for 1, and I can play a Relic here to start eating the grave. Hold up Blue Blast. Assume they're going to go for the Ren's Resolve here. I probably Blue Blast this just to slow them down. I still have a Snuff Out for the first creature, but I don't have a lot else going on, so I really want to make sure they can't advance much. They play the Needle, lose the Pyroblast. Brainstorm's decent. Let's play Ornament. Not really a reason to play a Brainstorm. I could just play another Relic, although then I'm tapped out of using either of them. Plus, they just know I don't have a Blue Blast. I don't think we get much from playing the Relic there, so I think we'll just leave this up. I could Brainstorm, but really it's just because just to bluff some stuff. There's a Narcomancer. Play another Needle. Okay. Blue Blast is good. Start with a Brainstorm. Cast down Lorien. So I probably put away this Relic because I don't really need a second one. Put away Relic and Lorien. Cycle a Lorien. Cast this down. I mean, part of me wants to like just keep the Lorien and whatnot, but if we get to our 4th land here, I can start using the Ornament, which is decent. Attack for 1. I think we just cast down now. They could have a Laughing Mat or whatever in response, but if I go to their upkeep, they could have a bunch of instants that they could cast, saving a bunch of mana. So I might as well not let that happen. Alright, they just let it die. We'll eat it with the Relic and pass. They have a Thornscape Familiar. We'll let that one resolve, and then probably snuff it out in response to whatever else they got. Yeah, we'll cast this, because if they have a Manamorphose or Seething Song or anything, they're probably going to want to cast that in response. Manamorphose. I could counter that, and then they probably can't play much from the Glimpse the Impossible. They could have something else to cast. But, I mean, this is 1 for 1. This is potentially a 3 for 1, though, and if I get rid of most of their mana, it could be okay. I don't know. I think I try to counter this Manamorphose. Not great if they have another one. I guess like a Pyro would be about the same. Yeah, Red Blast. So that makes some mana, draws a card. Snuff Out works, then they Glimpse the Impossible. Triple land, okay. They got some spawn coming their way. They play a Sandstone Needle and just a First Day of Class to find a lesson. They get Origin of Metal Bending, which can blow up the Relic or the Bonder's Ornament. Oh, they do get a couple counters on their spawn. You know, good for them. Counterspell is good. Swing for 1. They play a Sandstone Needle. Tap 5 for a Seize the Storm. So I could let that go. And then Relic just makes it a 1/1 afterwards, at least for now. I could counterspell it, because it is a creature we're going to have to deal with more later. And they have this Origin, so I probably don't want to like just Bonder's Ornament at the end step, because then they can kill the Relic. So I am going to counter it. Like, it's just going to be a 1/1 for now, but if they get going and then it's enormous later, that would be problematic. They attack for 1 here. So I think for that reason, we're going to crack the Relic. So if I don't draw a land, then at least I can start using the Bonder's Ornament. And without fear of them relicking, blowing up the Relic. They could just blow up the Ornament, which is totally fair. doing it in response is probably not a good idea. I mean, I guess I could draw a counterspell, but then they're losing an extra spell here. It's funny, they actually made fun of the Bonder's Ornament in the deck, and now they're using a whole card to get rid of it. It's crazy. Ooh, that's a good draw. That's also a good draw. Well, I would love to hold up Spell Stutter for 2, but we're not going to pass up an opportunity to get a Ninja down here. If I draw a land, then I can still do that. Snuff Out's decent. Spell Stutter for 1's basically useless, so I'm just going to replay the Faeries here. We don't need an island, but I'll keep a Blue Blast. Pass the turn. They only have 2 cards. Their mana is pretty lacking because they've had to sack some needles and stuff. So they drew the Pyroblast. Well, of course, the Spell Stutter would have been good to hold up, but what are you going to do? I think replaying the Seer is probably okay. Attack with the Spawn. I mean, we are on an even clock, I suppose, here. We're slightly ahead, and whenever they cast a 2-drop, I get to Spell Stutter it, and then we double our clock. Lorien probably should just cycle it for a land. I don't think there's really a reason to. We don't need the mana right now. Obviously, I can't cast a Lorien, but if I draw like 2 lands in a row, it might be worth it. They have a Laughing Mad. I can't Spell Stutter that, but it's a draw too, so I think we Blue Blast it. I could cycle the Lorien now, and if I draw another one, then I could cast it, but I think we're just going to keep it. Now I'm on 5 mana, so maybe next turn I Lorien. Although I'd feel much more comfortable if I was able to get like a Spell Stutter off here first. But they have a Laughing Mad, can't do anything about that. I'm not going to snuff out the Spawn, just not really that worried about it. Double Spell Stutter. There's no world where I can tap out for the Lorien when I have double Spell Stutter up, I don't think. Swing with the Seer. I mean, if I'm lucky, they cast 2-drop, 3-drop, but even if they just cast a 3-drop, I might double Sprite it. I tap for 5 and cast Seize the Storm. It's only a 4/4, but I can just snuff it out, which I think I should, because obviously it increases their clock quite a bit. We're not going to pay life for it. Kill the Elemental. They also had to lose a land for that, and we get a counterspell, so the chances that they can flash it back are pretty low. Now we have a counterspell, even if they could. Play a Mountain. Seething Song would put them to 7. And then they can cast Seize the Storm. But they'd have to sack their land and flash it back. So I think we let them do that because then we can just counter whatever else comes next, which is the Storm. We'll counter that. And part of me wants to flash in a Spell Stutter for more damage, but we're winning the race. And they're going to be so desperate, they're going to have to start just casting like 2-drops. So if the next thing they cast is like a Glimpse of the Impossible, maybe I'll double Spell Stutter it. But if it's a 2-drop, I don't want to waste a Spell Stutter. There we go. There's a First Day of Class, which will counter. And they got the Pyroblast, but we got the second Sprite. It's definitely worth holding on to. And now we have them dead much faster, and I can just Lorien to draw a million here. Aqueduct back, Swamp, swing for 3, pass the turn, and we win the match. Close one. Honestly, the most fun I've had playing against a Ruby Storm player, because we actually had some interesting lines, but we end up getting there. All right, just 1 land, and it's Bojuka Bog. Not going to work. Now we have enough lands. Keep this one. Probably get rid of Thorn. Everything else works a little bit better. And we don't know if this is a matchup where Thorn's going to be good yet. Looks like white-green gates. So Bojuka Bog could be okay. I think we probably just want to get it down, even though it might be a bit of a waste, because we could catch some Prismatic Strands and stuff. But they play a Selesnya gate. We'll just pass. I feel like we probably won't be able to Spell Stutter a 1-drop, maybe a Cat or something, but then I can just flash in the Hacker, or Ninjutsu the Hacker at least. Ooh, another Spell Stutter. Alright, swing with the Sprite, go for the Ninjutsu, draw a card here. Alright, more land drops isn't bad. We also have the Agony Warp if they just like want to slam down a, what's it called, Guardian of the Guild Pact. So we're covered for that. There's a Basilisk Gate. No, that's exactly what they do. So I could just Agony Warp. I could Spell Stutter here, which doesn't do me a ton of good. Like, I can attack for a little bit extra damage. Kind of want Agony Warp and also have something else on our turn. So I might Brainstorm, and then if I don't get an untapped land, I can cycle the Lorien, shuffle away. Untapped land, I can Agony Warp and still hold up Counterspell. There's just no reason I need to do the Agony Warp here on the end step. So yeah, let's go for the Brainstorm. Snuff Out might be okay. We do get the untapped land, so if I don't want to shuffle, I don't have to. More Spell Stutters, probably not bad, plus land drops. Lorien, yeah, I guess we'll keep. Play this. Go for the Agony Warp. And I don't think I want to loot. The rule of always loot doesn't apply if you know the top cards of your deck and you like everything you have. And I know that there's a Contaminated Aquifer, which I kind of want to have because the next turn I get to play a free land drop, hold up double Spell Stutter, and then I have a Lorien for the following turn. So I think we don't loot. Especially because that Aquifer turns on my Snuff Out because I currently don't have a Swamp. So yeah, I think I'm okay with this. They play Heap Gate. If they cast nothing, I'd probably flash in a Spell Stutter because catching a 1-drop is pretty unlikely, but catching a 2-drop is not too difficult. And this gives a lot more power to both of these. If they want to Strands, they can go for that. I'm not going to counter. I'd rather keep the creatures off the board for the next Strands, or the flashback rather. Now they have an Outlaw Medic, so I'm going to try to counter that with a Spell Stutter Sprite. Play another Basilisk Gate, and they have another Guardian. Can't counter that. It's a 4-drop. So we'll let that go. We do have Extract Confession in the deck, but I guess they have on like a 2-turn clock here, which is a little awkward, so I have to go for this Lorien here. Sewer Valence Cam, can't tap that either. Aqueduct to bounce the Bog. Swing for 2. We had the first one covered, and now we might just die to the second one, unfortunately, because they can just pump it for plus 14, and obviously I can't snuff it out. That is pretty annoying. We didn't have the hard counter spell. If I can Fairy Seer loot into Extract a Confession, of which we have 1 in the deck, I can still survive. Those are not it. This can draw me cards, but I wouldn't have the mana. So I just have to luck into it here, which we did not. Well, that's pretty annoying. I feel like we had pretty good handle on things, and they just got pretty lucky getting both of those. All right, we'll bring in the second Extract. Relics might be okay. Thorn might be a liability, but also seems like decent. Dispel doesn't seem the best. Probably catches Prismatic and maybe Thraben Charms. That's about it. Not sure the Ambusher is necessary, though. Campfire, no. Maybe Suffocating is decent enough, then. Alright, 1-lander, not going to work. 2-lander, and we got Augurs. I guess this is fine. Probably get rid of the Fumes that I wasn't even sure we needed. I could Bog. I could try to get lucky and just Island, and if I draw an untapped land, I could, on the end step, I could Brainstorm and then go for an Augur and immediately get the value. I think we probably just go for the Bog here. Okay. I was probably going to Brainstorm, but because the Blind Augur could whiff, and we find a Brainstorm, that's fine. But with the Ninja, I definitely want to get the Augur and the Ninja going, I think. Gatecreeper Vine. They are also Naya. I thought that was a possibility. Maybe just for sideboard cards, Pyroblasts and the like. Find a Basilisk Gate. So I could go for a Ninja. Actually, I can't because they have an O2, so that's pretty annoying. I guess we Brainstorm, try to hit a land drop. We do with a Lorien. And then I can Brainstorm Augur from that, I guess. So what are we putting back? Or I could just play a Fairy Seer because then I could use that this turn. Okay, that's probably better. So I'm shuffling it away, so the Augur's not as relevant. Probably might just be Brainstorm and Augur. If I want this combo, I can like put back Counterspell, Cast Down, but those are just 2 really good cards, and that seems worse. So let's just do this. Cycle for an island. Play that, play Seer. Snuff Out. We don't have a Swamp, so we're going to get rid of that, but I'll keep the island. They go for a Rumble. Hit 4 white cards. Sacred Cat. They choose Guardian of the Guild Pact. So they can cast next turn. So I'll be holding up a counter spell for that. Hoping they don't have a Pyro, I guess. But we're going to Ninja here. Get that going. Extract is good. In case they do get a Guardian through. Outlaw Medic. Blocks the Ninja, but I don't think I want to counter that. I think I'd rather just cast it down. Sacred Cat. I would have Spell Stuttered that, but since I don't have it, not great. We do get a Snuff Out. I mean, they have a bunch of chump blockers, so I'm not really getting in with the ninja anyway, but at least I could force a chump block by killing this. But they draw a card off of it. It doesn't feel great. I think I just go for a Fairy Seer. Brainstorm, Suffocating. Suffocating is decent. If they block here next turn, I can like wipe the cat and the spawn with it. But then I'm not holding up counter spell, so I don't know. I'll do that next turn, but I will leave those both on top. Embalm the cat. More value from the fumes. Cast something down on the end step. Don't think we want to do that. We'll go for a Brainstorm just to try to hit a land drop. I know the fumes is on top, but we got 2 more cards to dig through. Plus I can still counterspell here. Alright, we get Lorien. Probably don't want to get rid of a ton of removal here. I could do the attack and then just go for the fumes. Oh, but they could have a Prismatic, so that's not good. I mean, I still wipe a bunch of these guys, but yeah, it's not the best thing ever. I want to play the Contaminated. I don't think I need to shuffle these away. I might shuffle away like Snuff Out, but I think for now we'll just play the Aquifer. Swing for a flying, and then pass. I get to make a treasure. There's the Basilisk Gate and a Guardian. So I counter this, and they probably play another one with the 4 mana, but then I can extract that one. Plus they tap out. Yeah, that's exactly what I thought. Predictable. So I can extract, they lose this, and then attack. And if I'm lucky, they block, and I get to fumes everything. I think we'll keep... Well, I know there's a cast down on top and a snuff out. Maybe I should have flipped those. Snuff out would be better. Yeah, I guess we'll just draw. I have to extract first, because otherwise they just get a free block. This is the highest power. There's no way they can change that. All right. Make him lose the Guardian. Swing with the team. They go for the perfect blocks. So we'll fumes and wipe their entire board. All right. Leaving that fumes in worked pretty well. If they land a 3rd Guardian here when I tapped out and I don't have an extract, that'd be bad. I'm expecting it, though. No, they just do a cat and an armadillo cloak on it. Okay, I can cast that down. That's kind of a move of desperation doing it while they're not even attacking. They also play another Gatecreeper. Probably get another Basilisk Gate. I mean, they already have 2, I guess, but no, they just grab a Plains. Pass. All right, Snuff Out. But if I'm going to spend mana, if I'm going to Snuff Out, I might as well Lorien, but I probably want to hold up Counterspell, so I think we just cast down and I can save the Snuff Out for later. Then we get to attack. They have to either chump or we get a card draw. They are going to chump. We'll pass the turn. They have another Sacred Cat. I mean, that is the downside, is that if they are able to stabilize, they could just draw a million or gain a million off of this. Midnight Tilling is mill 4. Return a permanent card from your among them. I was going to say, if it's anything from your graveyard, I have to counter this. Because Guardian, they do mill a Guardian. Lucky them. That's what they take. Of course, I can counter it if they cast it now, but if they don't cast it now, then I'm going to have to just hold this up for the rest of the game. But they're just going to hope I don't have the counter spell, which is fair. Luckily, I do. We get an Aquifer. Swing with the team. They take it, so we get to draw a card. Thorn of the Black Rose. I was going to Lorien, but Thorn's probably just better, actually. It's a blocker as well as card draw, so I don't have to Snuff Out right now. Is there any reason to? Graveyard has nothing relevant in it. I think we just let it go. Draw an Aquifer. Oh, also we know their 1 card is a Plains. So they have 1 unknown, which is a Manor Gate. So they're going to buff this up a ton, just try to gain a bunch of life, which we're going to Snuff it out. Then they're going to bring it back. So I need to have 1 more removal spell so they don't gain a bunch next turn. Brainstorm. I think we start... Well, actually, we start with an attack. I guess I got to leave back Thorn. If I played Lorien first... We have no guarantee we'll hit a creature or a removal spell, so we got to just attack like this. But we'll draw a card first for free. We get a Ninja. So I could cast that. But I'm pretty sure we Lorien... I need to hit a Snuff Out, or maybe a cast down an untapped land. Or I could Brainstorm, which lets me get any of those removal spells, but then if I whiff, then Lorien's not as good. I think I actually go for the Brainstorm. All right, we got a Snuff Out. We're good. Put back. Ninja, Counterspell. Draw. Play this. Snuff this out. Pass the turn. Because we weren't able to attack with a Thorn, or rather, I played it in a way where I had to leave it back just in case. We don't actually have lethal. Actually, we do with the ninja. But if they play like a blocker, we don't have lethal, except that I have an extract. Okay, we're probably fine. But my point was that without anything in our hand, I had 5 damage on board. 2 turns would have been 10 damage, and I chose to make it only 4. Whereas if I'd drawn first, I could have attacked with the thorn, but I figured we should get the free draw first. I'm not sure if it mattered in that situation, though. All right, we win the game. That one went well, but we did have a lot of things go well for us. They cast 3 guardians, and we had the counterspell, extract, and counterspell at the ready, and then the removal spells for their cats. But I think we'll keep this one. We have a lot of cheap cards. We do only have 1 land. If we get very unlucky, we're going to lose, but we're on the draw, and we have 2 Fairy Seers. I guess only the first one's going to come down before my second draw, but that's still 4 cards to find our second land, 7 cards to find our second if we don't hit it by turn 2. I don't know. The hand's just pretty good if we do get it, though. Relic is decent. Augur, Spell Stutter, Counterspell. They play a gate. All right, easy peasy. There's our island. Landscape and another island. I mean, I don't mind a few lands here. Yeah, I think 4 is fine. This doesn't mean I can't Augur next turn, or rather, if I do Augur next turn, I have a lower chance to hit, but I probably am just holding up counter spells, right? So let's just do that. They play a Rumble, hits Breath Weapon, that's what the red is for. Prismatic, Journey, which is what they have to take. Swing with the Seer, and pass. Yeah, I guess with the Rumble, they could literally cast a Guardian next turn, so I need to have Counterspell up. They're just going to pass, though. I could flash in a Spell Stutter, but I don't think that's necessary. Swing with a Seer. I think we just play another Seer. I think the Relic is less relevant right now. They're going to Midnight Tilling in response. I can't counter, because then they could get a Guardian. Speaking of, they just milled 2 Guardians. I'm sure they're taking 1 to hand. Or a Mana Gate if they really need a land, but no, they go for the Guardian. Fairy Seer, another island. Honestly, not the worst. And a Ninja, which we do want. Next turn I Ninja, and then I play another island, which lets me hold up Counterspell again. I think we'll keep them both. They're going to go for the Guardian. I'll Counterspell. That kind of makes me think they have another one, being so brazen about it. But what are you going to do? We'll Ninja. Since we don't have a Counterspell, the best way to deal with that is just to try to draw more. So if they go for another Rumble or something, I'll probably Spell Stutter, counter a 2-drop. Yeah, because it gives them a chance to find the Guardian. Also, theoretically, they could use the mana and play another Guardian. There's the Journey. Yeah, I guess the Journey takes the Ninja. That's not great, but it's fine. We do get a Snuff out. We'll go for a Seer into the Augur. Agony Warp. Well, we're going to tell them about it by doing that, but that's fine. At least I don't get killed by it. Oh, or I could take a Counterspell, but the way I tapped, because I was going to use this to sack the landscape to get black, so I have the Agony Warp. I think I have to now, because if they play a Guardian, I mean, I guess they don't have anywhere near as many gates as they have previously, so it's not that scary. Maybe I should get a Counterspell. Ugh, I don't know. We'll take the Agony Warp. It's a little safer, but I think it's okay. Now we'll play the Relic. Landscape, we can get black. Swing for 2. They just have not a Breath Weapon, a Fiery Cannonade. Okay, we keep our Augur, so if we do get a Ninja, it's not the end of the world, but still pretty good. Sack the Landscape for our Swamp. I could crack Relic, just on the off chance we draw a Ninja, it'd be pretty good. We do get rid of a Strands, which is kind of what it's here for, and we don't have anything else going on. I think we're going to do that. If we had kept the Counterspell instead of the Agony Warp, then we could have had that for the Cannonade. Well, if I had tapped appropriately. But I still think it was correct to hold up the Landscape, even if I could have thought about the possibility of getting a Counterspell. Alright, we're just going to crack the Relic. Honestly, not the worst. We just get to slam a Lorien, and we get 2 more answers to Guardians, which is our biggest fear. And just creatures if they get like a cat or something. But they have been missing land drops, so like, again, we shouldn't be that scared, but they have a Gate Creeper Vine. There's going to be the Basilisk Gate. So they play that, and there's an Outlaw Medic and a cat. Just get an island. And I can't really get through unless I want to throw every removal spell out, which we probably will, but no reason to do it yet. Like, I'll do it as they pump their team, probably. Pump the cat. It might be worth just using the Agony Warp now, just because then I still have Extract and Counterspell for a Guardian, and they already know about it. So I'll shrink the Medic here, rather than using a free Snuff Out in case I get like a Lorien or something. I think it's probably better. They will, of course, Embalm the cat. Spell Stutter is a little medium here. Play another gate. Pump the cat. Well, we're gonna snuff it out. We get an Augur. Hits a Lorien Revealed. Definitely taking that over the Brainstorm. I think I Extract here, though. It's my only removal spell for the Medic. I can't really afford to let them get that much life. Plus, I have a counter spell for the Guardian anyway. They do draw a card. So next turn I can go for the Lorien. They make a treasure. Another Basilisk Gate. There's a Guardian. We'll counterspell. Moon Circuit Hacker. Let's start with Lorien. Or, I mean, I probably should start with a Hacker, right? Hacker, Augur, redraw a card, then I can replay the Augur. It's just more damage. No, I'm just going to start with the Lorien, see what we get. A counterspell. Alright, perfect. So I can Moon Circuit an Augur and still hold up counterspell. Draw a card here. Aquifer, pass. We got another Lorien. They make a treasure. Third Basilisk Gate. Alright, now we're going to just flash in a Spell Stutter. We're trying to just win the game. Plenty of stuff to do with our mana. Let's cast another Lorien. Bajuka Bog, Surveillance Cam, Snuff Out. We'll just swing here. I could snuff out the Gatekeeper. Yeah, then I have Surveillance to tap things, plus I have Counterspell and whatnot. I think that's probably fine. We get in for a little bit extra damage. Get rid of this guy. Hit for 4. Loot. Fumes. We'll get rid of an Augur for that, and we'll bog them away. With Sprite, if I can find another Ninja, we'll have lethal on them. Journey to Nowhere. We can Sprite that. Now they have a Breath Weapon. We have a Counterspell for that. I guess if they have another Breath Weapon or something, we'll be in some trouble, but if not, that was pretty good. Oh, they have Prismatic in the upkeep. That's fine. I won't worry about that. Let's go for an Augur. Finds a Brainstorm. Cast Brainstorm. Get a Fairy Seer. Oh, look, our Bonder's Ornament. Put these two back. Fairy Seer. Don't really need these because we can just tap whatever. So I think I'd rather get rid of him just so that we have a better chance of drawing like a counter spell if we do need anything. No reason to attack. They prevented all damage. Oh, I guess a kill spell. Oh, yeah, actually, kill spell for preventing the Prismatic Strands would have probably been better, actually. Well, looks like they maybe drew another Prismatic. Otherwise, they probably would have conceded. Or a Fiery Cannonade. Sure. I will Bonder's Ornament first. And then Brainstorm to draw as much as possible to try to hit a counter spell. All right, we hit it. Spell Stutter, counter that. And attack for lethal. All right, that was a pretty fun match, too. All right, we are going to keep this one on the play. We got pretty early Ninja, maybe counter a 1-drop, some removal. They mulligan to 5, pass. Forest and Quirion Ranger. Well, chances we can counter a 1-drop are decent. I could just snuff out the Quirion Ranger, but I think we're not going to do that. There's more important targets to hit, probably. Now, with the mulligan, it's possible that I should just kill the Ranger. Attacking in could allow me to kill it with the Sprite. I think we're not going to worry about that, because that would just be a 1-for-1, and ideally the Sprite can be a 2-for-1. Saga Wildling. I'm pretty positive this should be a 1-drop on the stack, because it's a Roost Seek. So we're going to hope for that to be true, and go for a Spell Stutter Sprite. Alright, it is true. Nice. They're going to untap the Ranger, replay the Forest, tap for another Ranger. Of course, Suffocating Fumes is always what I want against an Elves opponent. For now, we're going to get our Ninja going and pick up that Spell Stutter, draw a card, play an Aquifer. I could snuff out, but again, I don't really need to, especially because currently with 2 of them and only 1 land, it's kind of redundant what they can do. Cycle a Generous Ent for a Forest, play that. Swing for 2. We get another Lorien revealed. Let's swing. They could untap Aquarian Ranger or even both and block, but that seems pretty bad for them, so not expecting that. Dispel's pretty much a waste, but we're already pretty far ahead with their mulligan and then us just getting a bunch of stuff here. Attacking again. I'm really not worried about the damage. Again, I don't want a 1-for-1 with the Sprite. Not that they're going to cast a 1-drop now that they know we have it. Lead the Stampede. Unfortunately, this is the concern, is that I actually don't have a way to stop this. And they could just get a ton of creatures off of it. Yep, they got 4. Gonna cycle a Lorien for an island. Kind of want to just like cast one of these down, because I might Lorien revealed on my turn. That would open them up to casting something through a spell stutter, but then I have the kill spells for it, which is probably why I shouldn't do that. All right, we'll just go to our turn, see what we get here. Thorn of the Black Rose is pretty interesting. We are going to swing, even if we play Thorn. I'd rather draw a card here. They are going to block this time with the Aquarian Ranger. Okay, so I could kill this one. Then they might lose a mana. It's still not the most important thing. They're going to be playing around the spell stutter. I think I play Thorn. I think it's better than Lorien for a couple reasons. One, if I played Lorien here, I'd just have to discard a couple cards. And two, obviously the Death Toucher is a nice blocker. Stuff like that. They do have a Forest. There's a Priest. And an Elvish Mystic. And now that we're drawing 2 cards a turn with the Monarch, I'm certainly just going to cycle one of these Loriens to keep hitting our land drops. Islands. Fumes is really what I'm looking for. Let's Fairy Seer. Like a Fumes here pretty much just wins us the game. We're already in a very good spot because I can still just like kill this and stuff, but we don't need more land drops. But Brainstorm is fine, worthwhile. If they want to attack with these, I just have kill spells and stuff, so I'm just gonna attack with both of these. Honestly, they'll take it. Draw. All right, we're gonna draw from the Monarch. And we did get the Fumes. I was going to Brainstorm in the end step if we didn't get the Fumes, just to look for it, because it would be so good if we did get it, but we found it. And if they just cast Timberwatch or something scary, I can just, well, I could counter it, but honestly, I'd just cast it down. Counter spells are now going to be reserved for draw spells. Or Spell Stutter would counter a 1-drop, or a 2-drop, I guess. But all right, they do concede there after a little bit of thought. Of course, we get Arms of Hadar, and that's pretty much it. Extract doesn't seem very good. We don't need Relic or Campfire. Bonders is probably not the best here. Is there anything worse? I mean, we have another Extract. I mean, I'll probably take all the removal I can get. Extract could be good enough. Ambusher's pretty irrelevant. I'm having trouble seeing a time when Ornament would be good enough. It feels like either, if we're both top decking, yeah, but it feels like they're either going to be way behind or way ahead. But the Extract just doesn't seem that good. All right, well, we'll keep one Extract and keep the Ornament in, I guess. We'll see if it's decent at all. Opponent has disconnected. Hopefully they return. Well, they were trying to hold on there. Reconnected a couple of times. Took almost 20 minutes, though, but eventually lost due to inactivity. Not sure they would have been able to win the match in 5 minutes anyway, but a bit unfortunate, but I guess we won. We got a 1-lander here we can't keep, and a no-lander now. 1 land, but we have Loriens. I think on 5 we got to keep this. And we'll get rid of Snuff Out and just keep 1 removal spell, I guess. Probably a Cast Down. Not great, but if we can get like a Fairy Seer, Spell Stutter or something, and then can get an Ambusher going, maybe we'll be okay. They start with Campfire and Snow-Covered Island. Okay. We get a Hacker, I guess. I could just cast a Hacker on turn 2. Snow-Covered Plains. So it looks like they're Jeskai, I would guess. We get a Spell Stutter Sprite. Alright, I was going to play the Hacker, but I guess it's probably better to flash in the Sprite even if we don't counter a 1-drop. They activate the Campfire. They are Jeskai. Ponder's Ornament. Alright. Which means they have 1 mana, so they could like scred this or something, but what are you going to do? They just tap for Campfire. Okay. Alright, I think we Brainstorm and then cycle Lorien for an island and then Hacker. We're not going to have up Sprite, but we're not going to have that up anyway, unless we just top deck an island. We get our own Ornament, but we're shuffling. I guess we have an Aqueduct. No, I have to shuffle away if I want to use the Hacker this turn, which I do. So I don't care about the Ambusher as much now. I guess the Augur's not that relevant. Cycle this, get an island. Swing. Go for a hacker. Draw a card. Pass the turn. Honestly, us just getting our ornament down means if they ever want to activate theirs, they have to give us a card, which is decent. They Ride's End to get rid of that. Snuff out. They could have a counterspell for our Bonder's Ornament, which honestly would be kind of bad because it's a way for us to stay in this game, but we're just going to cast it. Hope they don't. Union of the Third Path in response. Okay. I think we're going to Aqueduct. I could hold that in case we get a Bajuka Bog and want to use it twice, but I think it's probably better to just get it down. They have a Mole Drifter. We don't have a Swamp for the Snuff Out, and we don't have Spell Stutter either. That's pretty unfortunate. We haven't had a chance to crack the landscape, so yeah, that sucks. Well, I think we just cast this down. They Dispel. Okay, I can get some value out of the Spell Stutter then. Then we're going to get an Ephemerate to draw 2 more cards, so that's why I want to kill it. We could have obviously like Spell Stuttered the Ephemerate or something, but didn't want them to have all their mana available at that time. Bender's Waterskin. Untap this artifact during each other player's untap step. Okay. Preordain. Definitely some cards I haven't seen before in this Jeskai Ephemerate deck. Thorn of the Black Rose is decent if it resolves. I kind of wish that I could just use the ornament. The problem is that the second one kind of just neutralizes the first. Because, again, neither of us want to spend 5 mana to draw us both 1 card. They have the counterspell. Activate Campfire. Sack a Landscape. They have an Archaeomancer, which gets back counterspell. Oh, yeah, I guess the Ephemerate they had to leave in exile. I was thinking they were going to get that back, but they have the Ephemerate, but if I snuff it out, then they just counterspell, so that doesn't work. They get back Dispel, and now they probably just win because they have a infinite counterspells, pretty much. Maybe if we draw like a Lorien Revealed, but they just counter that, and can just counter it over and over and over again. Alright, I think we're going to concede. We're both in, like, we don't have the most cards, but yeah, they just have Ephemerate, Infinite Loop. We get Relics, maybe Hydroblasts. Extract doesn't seem very good. Fumes either. Ambusher we don't need. Everything else seems okay, though. Don't think we really need a Campfire. Yeah, they have one, but if we get to the point where we're milling out, that seems unlikely. I don't know. Red is their main splash. I don't know, maybe just 1 Hydroblast. Counterspells into just a Thorn of the Black Rose. I mean, I don't think this is a very good hand, but seeing as it's control versus control, I think it's okay to keep. Because it's not that important that we have, like, creatures or specific action early. And Thorn is good if I can resolve it. We get our Ornament again. They're going to pass. I'll just go for an Ornament. Crack their landscape. I mean, Ornament does allow me to play turn 5 Thorn with Counterspell backup. And again, if they get an Ornament, it's pretty good. If they don't get an Ornament, then I can just activate it if I need to. They get out Glacial Floodplain, which honestly, we're not casting Thorn. I could cast Thorn here and have Dispel up, actually. Then we're tapping out for the next turn, and they could Muldrifter Ephemerate. But they'd have to discard so many cards, I think. I think we are going to go for the Thorn. We're going to chance it. Drawing the Dispel changes things a little bit there. Take the Monarch. Get a Brainstorm. They scred the Thorn. Preordain. Don't really care if that's dead as long as they don't have a way to take it. They could get like an Augur or something. Scratch you to the top. I'm hoping they don't have that. Another Preordain. Okay, so we're good on the Monarch for this turn. Then they shuffle with the landscape. We get another Brainstorm. Probably might as well just cast one of these. We're going to play an island. I'm going to draw something here anyway. I guess I'll just put back 2 Brainstorms because I'm going to draw 1, so it doesn't really matter. With 5 mana, I could flash in and sack a Cam to draw 2, or I could just use the Ornament to draw 1. They have an Augur, a Bolas. I could kill that with an Agony Warp, or I could just counterspell it because it's probably going to be a 2-for-1 anyway. I think we'll use a counterspell. They got a Red Blast. So I could let it resolve in the Agony Warp, but they probably have Ephemerate. I guess I do it on my turn, and then I can counter that. Yeah, so I could just go for a counterspell again. We'll let it resolve this time. They get a Scred. I guess Cam also just protects us from the Monarch here, from losing the Monarch. Although they're shuffling here, or tapping out with the Lorien, so I'm just going to kill the Augur while they're tapped out. Don't think there's a reason to Brainstorm. So we just won't until now, because I would like to hit a land drop. Nice. We also get an Augur, so I can put back Brainstorm. But I don't want to lose anything, because I want to hit this land drop. I don't want to lose a counter spell. I guess I could get rid of the Brainstorm, because it doesn't really matter that much. Sure. Play Augur, show counter spell. Because like without cycling or anything, the Brainstorm is kind of just cantripping, which isn't that big of a deal. It was good for the first one was good for the Augur, but the second one was going to be kind of irrelevant, I think. So didn't quite have enough mana to ornament there, but that's okay. They're going to scred this in the upkeep. I don't have a ninja right now, so I don't think I care about that. Get a Fairy Seer. We'll play that. They're going to counterspell. I think that's fine. I mean, I wouldn't mind a creature, but I'm so far ahead of them. I just need to make sure that... Oh, nice. I just need to make sure that they... When they go for something that's more than a 1-for-1, like a Mole Drifter or something, I just have the counterspells for it, I think. So I could flash in Spell Stutter. We are finally going to use the ornament to draw here. We got a ninja. All right, I'm going to flash in Spell Stutter. If they want to kill it, that's fine. It's not that big of a deal. 5 mana Ride's End. All right. Exiled. Nice. We got a Fairy Seer. Aqueduct and a Relic. I have Counterspell. Yeah, we'll keep these both. And I'm going to... we'll just pass. I was going to get greedy and like Bonder's Ornament now to draw the Aqueduct and be able to play it. But then I only have 1 counterspell up, and I really don't need to give them the ability to like resolve something through 1 counterspell. I think we're in a good enough spot. That's not necessary. They have a Mole Drifter, so we'll counterspell. And if they have a Dispel, we'll counter again. Now we get to exile their graveyard, and they just have absolutely nothing. All right. Bonder's Ornament actually did something there. The ramp was super relevant, getting us a turn 4 Thorn with Dispel, and then also we were able to activate it once, and if the game continued, we would have activated it probably a couple more times. Is it the best in this deck? Don't know yet, but it doesn't seem terrible. As like a one of. I wouldn't play more than that, I don't think. Handful of counterspells. We're going to keep this one. They got a Preordain. Scry 2 to the top. Play an island and pass. I think I got to get just an island with this Lorien. We have way too many 2-drops to play that I don't want to get a tap land. Currently, we don't have any reason we need black. Obviously, that could change. But yeah, I think we just need an island. Oh, look, it changed. They don't have counterspell mana up. So I think I go for an Augur. So we can maybe Ninja, but if I'm lucky, I get like not a Snuff Out. I was hoping for a Lorien off of that, so I can keep hitting land drops. They have a Scred. Okay. And we do not hit a land drop. I could flash in a Cam now, but then I'm not holding up Counterspell, and they could do their Mole Drifter turn, so I think I just get rid of a Snuff Out. Maybe it's Thorn because it's more expensive, but Thorn could be really good and could be a way to get back into this. We're casting something here. Probably Spell Stutter. It doesn't counter that much, and it could let me Ninja if I want to. Mostly I want to cast something so I don't have to discard if I don't get another land. We get another Spell Stutter. I think we just attack and pass. I don't really want to tap out. Ride's End. Now Augur. I could Spell Stutter. Then they have a Bolton, and that doesn't do enough. I could Counterspell. I think I'd go for the Spell Stutter. It's not the end of the world if the Augur resolves. Ooh, it did not resolve. Okay, that's pretty good for us. More counterspells. I really want to get this Ninja going, but they're actually not doing that much. But if they just like hardcast a Mole Drifter or a Lorien, it's pretty bad for us. So I think we got to keep holding up counterspell. Probably flash in the Cam at the end step if they don't do anything, though. They cast our Chaomancer. Could get back a Scred or a Preordain. I mean, we're going to counterspell this. They could definitely have a Dispel or something, which I'm kind of expecting, or a Red Blast. But I think it's still worth using our mana while we can, trying to fight over it. They could get a Scred and just kill like a Sprite, plus they have insurance against a Ninja, but they might just want a Preordain so they can, yeah, because they have way more lands than us, which is great, but nothing else. Oh, God, Fairy Seer. Ugh. I'm not going to counterspell a Preordain. Yeah, we're still just attacking and passing, I think. With all these counterspells, I think tapping out is just a huge mistake. But obviously, it's pretty tight spot here. They play a landscape. They have a Lorien revealed. We'll definitely counter. They have Preordain and one other, so it could be a Dispel or a Pyroblast. Of course it is. And if they get an Ephemerate here, which they left mana up for, that's pretty good. Looks like they might not have, or they want to get in for one first, I guess. Come on, give me the Aquifer. Oh my god. I mean, I could either continue doing this, I have one more counterspell, or I could finally go for a Ninja or a Fairy. Last turn, we know all they had was a Preordain, and they used the Dispel, so they did just draw random cards, but obviously their deck's made up of a lot of really good cards. I mean, frankly, this is the turn where we lose, but I think we gotta go for a Ninja at this point and just hope for the best. We draw the island. I have a Cam, which is pretty irrelevant, or a Fairy Seer, so we're definitely gonna Seer, try to set up another land drop. No, and no. Alright, hope this turn isn't too devastating for us. Another Lorien revealed. Pretty good. The thing we had going for us was that we had all the cards and they had just all the lands, and now with 2 Loriens resolved, they're at 7 cards. And they have a kill spell for the Ninja. Preordain. Scry 1 to the top. We still don't have a swamp for this snuff out. We have a cast down. I don't think I can tap out again. I could ornament, but that just seems so bad. I think we gotta pass. Preordain. I'm not gonna go for a Sprite on that or anything. Not enough value at this point. Too much risk. Scry 2 to the top. Evoke a Muldrifter. If they have the Ephemerate, I could maybe Spell Stutter it. Unless they have like a... I guess a Breath Weapon wouldn't be good because it would wipe their board too. I could just counterspell this. I guess if they have the Ephemerate, I can Sprite it. It's not that big of a deal. Also, if they have the Ephemerate, they're probably using it on the Archaeomancer. We'll let them draw 2. Divination is fine. Play a land. I mean, there's no reason I shouldn't play this Cam, I think, so I'm just going to flash it in. Tap their Archaeomancer, unless they want to counter this. They are going to counter this. I mean, I could Spell Stutter or just counter back. I probably should Spell Stutter. I guess if they have like a Cast of the Fire, kill 2 of our sprites, it's bad. Or if they like get an Ephemerate off, it's pretty annoying. Actually, if they Ephemerate and they have a red Elemental Blast to get back, then that's pretty good. I mean, I think we got to go for it, but I think the only reason they would have done this counterspell here is because they have like something, either Cast of the Fire or Ephemerate. Red Blast. They let it go though, so it's not that. Yep, there's the cast. That's kind of what I thought. I mean, it's still not the end of the world. Like, if I use the counterspell, the Surveillance Cam wasn't the most important thing, is the thing here. We get an island. Okay, so I can play Bonder's Ornament and hold up counterspell or cast down. I think that's the only thing to do. Part of me wants to just cast down the Archaeomancer now, but we haven't seen an Ephemerate yet, and there could just be something worse. So I think we pass. Cycle a Landscape. I mean, that's a good sign. There's a lot of spells they would have cast before cycling a Landscape. A lot of draw spells. Red Blast the Fairy Seer. I'm not going to counter that. Play a land. Swing for 1. Give me a land. Untapped. Because I want to play the Thorn, but if I play Thorn and I don't have counterspell up, then they could just kill it and take it. So I can't really do that. So we'll pass. Crack their Landscape. Cycle another Landscape. Play a land. I mean, I want to try to kill this. I could just Ornament, or I could try to kill this, because then I can maybe resolve the Thorn. Plus, we don't have to worry about the Ephemerate as much, whereas if I tap out for the Ornament and they have the Ephemerate, it's pretty bad. I don't know. I think I should try to cast this down and just hope for the best. They're going to counterspell. I guess I counterspell back, but then if they have an Ephemerate, it's like really bad. They didn't, so maybe I can resolve the Thorn. Now we get the Aquifer. Well, we gotta cast this, hope for the best. Nope, they have another counterspell. I mean, I guess we're both kind of top decking, and with our Ornament, maybe we can be in a better spot, but they have an enormous graveyard if they find an Archaeomancer. We kind of need like a Bajuka Bog for that or something. They draw Lorien revealed. Pretty good. Into a Water Skin. I don't care too much about that. Better than an Ornament. I mean, I could Ninja. It probably just dies though. They've only used 2 Red Blast and 1 Scred. So I probably am better off just using the Ornament, I think. I could use it then if I get like a Fairy Seer, but I think I want to just bluff counter magic and stuff. We'll activate. Alright, we're going to keep activating. They draw an Ash Barrens to cycle. Draw again with the Ornament. Brainstorm. Alright, we'll Brainstorm. Okay, all lands, but that's fine because we can shuffle with this landscape and then go for another Brainstorm and a bunch of Lorians. I mean, I guess I go for a Lorian. They got a Pyroblast. That's not that big of a deal. Unless, of course, while we're tapped out, they do something scary, but, like, I'm just bluffing counterspells, so I didn't actually have a way to stop anything. There's a Mystic. We do have a Snuff Out. We'll probably be using that in their upkeep. Gonna go for another Lorian. They have another Pyroblast. Okay. I can't activate Bonder's Ornament here, so I think it makes sense to just play the Ninja. And we'll Snuff Out in the upkeep. Hope they haven't drawn a Dispel or an Ephemerate. Scred the Ninja in response. I mean, that's not the worst thing that could happen, but still annoying. Augur Bolas. Finds a Preordain. 2 to the top. There's an Archaeomancer. Have not seen Bojuka Bog or either Relic of Progenitus the entire game. They get back a Preordain. Interesting. Feels like they definitely have a counterspell then, because... Or like Ephemerate or something, because they would have gotten back a Lorien if they had nothing. I guess we'll draw off this Bonder's Ornament. Well, that is very unlucky, isn't it? I mean, it was a good match back and forth, but they have a Mole Drifter. I don't know. We even have the Ornament drawing us a lot of cards, which I feel like should have been pretty good in this matchup. And just didn't do enough. We'll take 4 here. Ephemerate. We'll try to kill it. Assume they'll have another one or a counterspell or something, though. Yep, and they're going to win that one. Ugh, really close. Bojuka Bog was just a couple cards too low. I mean, by this point, even a Bojuka Bog stopping the Archaeomancer wouldn't have done much, but bit of a bummer. All right, we're going to keep this one. We got turn 1 Fairy Seer into counterspell. Snuff Out's already a dead card, I guess, against Black Sack, but Spell Stutter and Counterspell are pretty good. Another Counterspell. We don't need the Island. Well, I guess Island lets me Bonder's Ornament and then Counterspell in the next turn. I've already got Counterspells for the next few turns. I guess we'll keep them, and just, they can get something through here, but then I can have a Counterspell up for the next 3 turns after that. Shambling Ghast can obviously pick off the Fairy Seer, making our Spell Stutters weaker. But their deck's mostly 1-drops, so not that much weaker. And if they're stuck on 1 land, then the Spell Stutters are suddenly incredible. We'll play an Island and pass, because Spell Stutters counters basically everything. They could be playing Snuff Outs, so if there's something particularly important for us to counter, I probably would just counterspell it if it was like a Beetle or something here, maybe. But we're going to go for the Sprite, hope for no Snuff Out. They do have it, though. I mean, oh, and they even have the Swamp afterwards. Well, we know we're drawing a land here. This could just be a way too much damage too quickly now that I don't have a cast down or anything. Or a way to chump block. They're going to make it 4. Yep. Yeah, I really need to draw like a cast down. A Sage. It's just a Sage, but Sage does mean we die next turn, but I feel like the chances they have something else just as strong is pretty high, because this is pretty low on what they could have, but yeah, Shambler, same thing. So we're dead next turn, so we need to draw a cast down or extract a Confession. So that's like 3 hits. Lorien is not going to do it. They have enough damage on board to kill us. I can't draw any cards. Can't snuff that out. All right. Counterspelling instead of the Spell Stutter would have been decent, but it wouldn't have been that good. We don't have that many great cards against them, but we do have 4 really bad ones. So like Extract is good. Arms is okay. Relic is medium. Campfire is medium. So is Ambusher, though. Honestly, Thorn's probably more of a liability, so I think I'll just bring in the Relics and keep the Ambushers, because the life gain can be decent. Alright. No lands. Still no lands. This one's okay. We're going to keep it. Get rid of the ninja. I think get rid of the arms. If Arms of Hadar was like always good, you know, if this was against elves, I would never get rid of it. But it's only sometimes good against Black Sack. So seeing as I can't cast it now and all of our other cards I think are more important, we're definitely going to do this. Another cast down is good. So we're going to focus on killing the sack outlets. So kill or counter Carrion Feeder and Bloodthrone Vampire. If they just cast a 1/1, I think that's fine. They don't have a land again. We're going to go for a Brainstorm because I can't afford to play it next turn. Fumes is going to be pretty good, it looks like. I don't need to shuffle, so let's just put back one cast down, one Lorien, play the island, and pass. So I'm probably going to take 2 here, but if they just cast like another 1/1 at the end step, I'll probably Fumes it all. Yeah, Sage. I mean, they keep 2 1/1s. And they get a treasure, but we're still killing 3 bodies and using our mana. Plus we're drawing a cast down here. Want to hit our land drop. We can only cast one of these, so we're going to cycle this for an Aquifer. Play that and pass. They have a Carrion Feeder. So I probably just counterspell. And then they... If I let it resolve, they could just pass and they could have like a Village Rites if I try to cast it down, whereas now they might have like another one or a Vampire, and then I can cast it down and they're tapped out, so they can't Village Rites or anything. See, now Arms of Hadar would be decent, but we also have a bunch of cast downs, so I'm not too worried as long as we draw it decently. Fairy Seer is not bad. Spell Stutter and Augur are both fine as well. I think we'll leave them both on top. We're going to kill this now in case they have a Village Rites or something. I don't want to give them a free card to sacrifice to it. I think I'll probably take the 2 here because we're about to draw a Spell Stutter Sprite, and if I block and then I try to Spell Stutter a 1-drop and they have the Snuff out again, then they can stop it from happening. Whereas if I have 2 1/1s, or 2 fairies rather, then they can't stop it with just 1 Snuff out. They would have to have 2. They do have another Vampire here, so I'm probably going to just cast that down and hold up Spell Stutter Sprite. Okay, they just go for the proactive Snuff out so they can get in for the damage. That's fine as well. I will take 2. We'll once again cast this down, and I'll Spell Stutter just about any 1-drop I see. If they have the Snuff out, obviously I can't do anything about it now, but again, they would have to have a second one since they already had one. It is just a Link Breaker. Actually, I'm going to let that go because, first of all, they could be baiting for something else, and I'm about to draw an Augur, which can block that, so I'm not too worried about the extra damage here. So we'll play Augur. Draw a Counterspell. That's pretty good. Now that they know about Counterspell, it might be tough to get them to cast something into it. So Spell Stutter, because I do want to trade the Spell Stutter for an Insect. I just want to get the value from it first. Yeah, they have a Shambler. They know about the Counterspell, so they're probably trying to push something else better through, but I still think we're going to go for a Sprite here, try to get some value, and get a blocker on the Insect so we stop taking 2 damage in the air. And they could have a Tragic Slip or another Snuff out, but what am I going to do about that? Nothing. They attack with a team. I mean, I'm going to block the Link Breaker, and if they have a stamina, then they're going to trade. I guess I've shuffled, right? I don't know if I've shuffled. Well, Arms of Hadar would be good now. They've drawn very well, I think. We've drawn medium. Not badly, but looks like we are going to lose this one probably. Bit unfortunate. Pump the Shambler. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if I take this, I pretty much die next turn. I mean, I pretty much die next turn no matter what. But we'll block here, and they'll pass. Okay. I mean, we're dead on board, so I have to play an Ambusher, which means I can block and gain some life. Trade with the Shambler, which they're going to pump up, and they make a bunch of squirrels. I don't have Counterspell available. We did shuffle with that Lorien, so I could draw an Arms of Hadar, and that's our best out. They don't pump. That's a bad sign for us. I block, and they sack that. But they still would only be dealing 4. They would need like double stamina to kill us, which they could have, although then they wouldn't have needed to attack with the ground creatures at all. I'm sure it'll make sense. Right now I'm a bit confused by this attack. They do have the stamina, which is why we didn't block the Shambler. Okay, they trade. Yeah, if they had just double pumped the Shambler, then I would have had to block it and then would have made them a million squirrels. But I drew a Lorien Revealed. I can't cycle. Well, I could cycle. I can't cast it Counterspell doesn't do anything, and they're going to kill me. Black stack's a good deck. What can I say? Well, we got a 3-2. I thought I was going to get another 4-1 as I usually do, and got even worse. But we had a lot of really good, really fun matches, so not too upset about that. A little bit unlucky against Black Sack, but also they just had decent starts, and I think have a pretty good matchup against us. And a little unlucky against Jeskai Ephemerate. That's what I was a little more annoyed about, because we were in a good spot. One of those games where we were screwed and they were flooded, and screw generally beats flood, but then we just were screwed for too long. It wasn't like, oh, if we were screwed for 4 or 5 turns, maybe we would have been okay, but we were screwed for 6 or 7 turns, I think. And then our Bonder's Ornament did not help us as much as it should have. The Ornament does seem okay, to be honest. 3 mana is a lot, and it feels really bad then. But the ramp is surprisingly useful, because if you play it on turn 4, you can play a 2-drop afterwards. Or like we saw, if you play it on turn 3, you can get like a Thorn with a Dispel, which was kind of cool. And there's just often turns where I have 2 or 3 counterspells, and I just want to pass over and over and over, and it's nice to have the Ornament there. So I honestly don't think it's terrible. Barf is the player that I mostly stole this list from, and I saw him trying it out, and clearly he's not still trying it out, I don't think. So I'm sure he's determined it's not worth it, but I don't know, I actually kind of liked it. I'm sad we didn't get to use the Sewer Valence Cam to really any effect. Every single time we saw it, I think we were pretty much screwed and only had like 2 lands, so we were never able to actually crack it for the card draw or tap anything to keep them from monarching or anything like that, but I don't know. Deck's still really good. I think this deck never really goes away, and I think that you should give it a try if you like the look of it. Thanks so much to my supporters. If you want to support me on a monthly basis, go ahead and check out my Metafy link down below, or you can join my YouTube memberships where you can see my videos early. Thanks to my current $10 and up supporters, Howard Granger, JDNPX, Halcaz, Cody Cowell, DJ Vinyl, In Bunsby Bust, Brotaku BC, Mr. Soleo, and Paladillin C. I really appreciate the support, and I will see you all next time.